a great job, company car. I mean, like it was lit. Not even gonna lie, right? But I wasn't happy. I had gone through all these things to get this dream job. And I was just in a very dark place. And so when I started to do some soul searching, I realized that I was internally happiest. I was at my happiest when I was actually creating things.
Welcome to the We Got Problems podcast with co-hosts Curtis G. Martin, Rhonda L. Brown, and Caliph Johnson Sr., the one and only podcast where solutions get discussed to our community's everyday troubles. Each week, you will hear mind-blowing conversations and actionable tips and strategies that you can implement in your daily life to become more effective. We got problems and we got solutions.
All right, you guys, welcome to the show. This is We Got Problems, where we discuss solutions. I'm here with my co-host, Rhonda L. Brown.
Hey, everybody.
My other co-host, Caliph Johnson Sr.
Peace, y'all. How y'all doing?
And the third co-host of the group is Lashika Phillips.
Hello.
And we have a special guest in the house today, Kimel Fryer. Kimel, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
Thank you for having me on, Curtis. I'm so excited to be here today. I am the executive director of Indie Memphis, and we are a nonprofit in Memphis, Tennessee. Our mission is to create community through independent film. And so I have a 9-year corporate finance background. And I also started doing my own films and writing my own screenplays in 2015. So I kind of have a mixed bag of a background, but it all came together once I saw this position, and I applied for it and I got it. And yeah, we're in month 6 of the role. I started as executive director in October 3rd, and about 10 days later, we had our 25th film festival, brought out over 8,800 people. No pressure. But it was great, and I'm really enjoying it for sure.
So how did you even make the transition from finance to the film industry?
So it's a very great question. Um, Long story short, I'm from Memphis, moved away for school. And when I graduated with my law degree and business degree, I ended up in Detroit. I was at basically one of the auto manufacturers headquarters in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great job, company car. I mean, like it was lit. Not even gonna lie, right? But I wasn't happy. I had gone through all these things to get this dream job. And I was just in a very dark place. And so when I started to do some soul searching, I realized that I was internally happiest. I was at my happiest when I was actually creating things, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be projects, whether it be writing, doing something, helping somebody else with a creative project. And so that's when I started getting back into the creative world. And Detroit was really a great place to do that. A lot of people don't give Detroit a lot of credit, but the Detroit creative community is very tight, very collaborative. They used to shoot, if I recall, Warner Brothers used to shoot Batman movies in Detroit. And so even though they don't anymore, there's still a lot of independent filmmakers in the area, and there's a lot of resources, and especially a lot of Black filmmakers that are willing to help each other. And that's really kind of the support I needed to really jump in it. Now, it is Detroit. I am a Southern girl, so I didn't last up there too long. Not gonna lie to you guys. Those winters are something else. So I had to come back after about 3 years. But when I came back to Memphis, that creative hustle, that spark had been lit. And I was looking for a community. And the first thing I went to was actually something that we call Shoot and Splice with Indie Memphis. And we still do it. And that's basically where every month there is a facet of filmmaking that Indie Memphis reaches out to a local filmmaker who has that specialization, and they teach the other local filmmakers in the audience how to do it, and they teach them about their background. And so that was the first thing I went to with Indie Memphis, and I've been connected with the organization ever since. That was in 2016, and so now I'm here. And so yeah, so that's kind of how I made that transition. I was doing films on the side, and I got to experience Indie Memphis as a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And so once this job became available, I saw that you needed to have strong business acumen. You needed to write well. You needed experience with, all of these different things. And I had that with my corporate finance background.
Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, so it kind of for me, it made sense to put all of my skills together. And for the board, it made sense too. So.
How do you balance your roles as executive director and as producer, writer, director? How do you balance all of that?
It's tough. I'm not gonna lie. In my first job, one of my favorite bosses, her name was Barbara Pilarski, and I asked her about work-life balance, and she scoffed at me, y'all. She was like, like, like I told a joke, right? But what she said made a lot of sense, and that's what I take with me today. She was like, "There's not really such a thing as balance, but there are choices." She was like, "And my goal is to not make too many choices that overweigh the others." She was like, "So sometimes work is gonna win, but sometimes my family needs to win. And I try to make sure to make choices so that at the end of the day, everybody is balanced and one is not winning over the other." And so when I got into this role, really my last role, before I got into this one, I was at FedEx. And that's really kind of when I realized that I needed to put that into effect, because it was really busy. I was supporting the healthcare logistics unit, and it was pretty new. So that meant a lot of new structure had to be in place, some new collaborations had to be created, which is funny because that's kind of what I'm doing now in this job. But yeah, I have to make choices. And sometimes I have two boys. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And sometimes they have to win, right? Like I have to close the laptop, I got to be there for my babies. And sometimes I have to let work win, and I have to let my family step in and help support me with that. But so far, so good. I still am writing, and I know which seasons are going to be my busy seasons in my role as executive director, because our film festival is always in October. And so I know, like, I have a window of time where I'm like, okay, I cannot shoot. I can probably write, but I can't shoot anything around these months. I already know they're going in. So I try to balance my life, just trying to be a little bit more diligent and very intentional about how I use my time.
Dope. Okay, Camille, can you walk us through your process of producing a feature film, and what were some of the challenges you faced when you did your movie Life Ain't Like the Movies. Life ain't like the movies. Excuse me for getting tongue tied.
No, you're good. Who? Okay, that's a good question. So here's the thing. A lot of people don't know what producers do. Real quick, if you are a producer of the film, you're basically a manager. Now there are different types of producers, right? I would say a line producer is probably the most a line producer or post-production producer are probably the most like limiting ones, because you have a specific task, right? Like a line producer, your job is to make sure that the production does not go above any of the line items in the budget, right? Post-production, you're focused on post-production and making sure things stay within budget in post. Like that's your job. When you're the producer, in my experience, you could be attached to the film. You're usually attached in pre-production, sometimes from concept, and you're helping the director, you're helping the creative team make that vision, make that vision come to life. And you are the one that's contacting everybody. You're the one negotiating deals. You're the one putting things in place so that this movie can come to light. The challenges, we face a lot of challenges with Life and Like the Movies. When I tell y'all, we were like overjoyed when we were able to rap, because we had this idea that we had a nice sum of money. We had like 50K, and we were like, okay, we're gonna crowd fund for post, and then we're good, right? We had Paul Bates, who plays Oha in Coming to America. He
Mm-hmm.
signed on to be grandpa in our film, and he was within the budget. I mean, it was everything was like lining up, which should have like made my spidey senses go, okay, something's gonna go wrong. But anyway, pandemic hits.
Wow. That
Yes,
had that had to be something. That had to be
that
just a whole
that
everything
yes,
changed.
because I'm kind of a pessimist, right? I'm kind of a pessimistic person at times. So I did feel like like everything is going right. Something is about to happen. Did not see global pandemic, right?
No one
In
saw it.
my no one saw that. And so our ideas for crowdfunding went out the door. Some people did crowdfund. We didn't feel at the time that it was right for that because there was just so much uncertainty with, different people's jobs and stuff like that. And so we had to get real creative with our resources, and we made a film on 50,000. We made a feature film and made it work on that, but
Wow.
on their budget. And so it I would say, and so you have the pandemic, you also had locations. Initially, we were gonna shoot Life Ain't Like the Movies in Detroit and Atlanta. Well, because of the pandemic, Paul, who is older, he he didn't feel comfortable flying, and we couldn't blame him, so we had to shift gears. And now we're talking about shooting in LA and Detroit on a $50,000 budget.
Wow.
We made it work, but when I tell y'all, it was hustle season. It was really grinding, really being like really creative with our resources, being really creative even when it came down to meals, right? Like, making sure that we had people, donating meals, for the cast and crew. So that's something we didn't have to worry about coming out of our budget. And just being really crafty with how we were able to put that money, because we know we need to put our money into the people, right? We
Mm-hmm.
know we needed the equipment for it. And so anything else that could be allocated out, right, or could be bartered or something like that, we were really creative with doing that. And so it was stressful, but I loved it. And hopefully the next time I produce something, we won't have a pandemic that I have to face. But I made it through.
Kudos to you for that one, sis.
Yeah, that's wow. That's a lot. I'm glad you spoke about Paul Bates being in the movie because one of the questions I wanted to ask you, just coming from my background, is if you can speak to the importance of representation and diversity in the film industry.
I think it's everything, to be honest. I think it's absolutely everything. Um, it's everything to children, to the next generation. Because if you don't see us in these roles, how do you even know they exist? Right? If you don't know that these stories are out there, how can you even have the courage to tell your own story, right? When yours comes to light. We That's one thing that I really love about being in the creative space, is being able to tell different stories and being able to help other people tell different stories that maybe are not the most commercial ideas, right? And that's one thing that I really love about the organization Indie Memphis. We have a knack for doing that. If you guys have heard about, I don't know if you have heard, I don't know if they've started advertising yet, but there's a movie that premiered at Sundance called All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt. The
Mm-hmm.
creator's name is Raven Jackson. In 2019, Barry Jenkins chose her script to be the Indie Memphis screenwriting resident. So she was in Memphis and finished the script. And long story short, Barry Jenkins' production company Pastel produced it. It's beautiful, and I got to see it on the screen in Sundance, right? And Indie Memphis helped her find her voice, and and I don't say that as if she needed Indie Memphis, because she's such a visionary. I think she would have figured it out regardless. She's just such a creative force. But that I will say that she was our resident, and that opportunity led to something else. And now her film will be in theaters later this year. And to be able to not just that, right? Like that's one example, but to be able to help so many people, even me. My short film came about because people in Indie Memphis pointed me to the right people when it came to like shooting and production and stuff like that. And so I was able to like find my team here in Memphis, which I find is necessary to do. So I think that the representation in film, it's everything because we have stories to tell. And we have so many stories that haven't even scratched the surface. And if anything, we need more of those to come out. We need more resources to be spread out more evenly so we can get those stories out, not just for our current generation, but definitely for the future generations as well. Because you just never know what you might inspire to somebody by putting your own thing out there.
All right, so we into helping people, and like you said, with that network you had in Memphis, how do you approach mentoring young filmmakers through programs like Indie Memphis and Crew Up?
So it's actually funny. I was so nervous when I was a crew up mentor, y'all. I was like, "Are y'all sure y'all want me helping children?" Because most of the so my personal films, most of them are in the horror genre, and I'm like, I don't know. These are babies. These are high schoolers. And so they were like, "No, you're fine." First meeting with my team, they're like, "Okay, can we kill people?" And I was like, did I find my people baby? Oh my god. And so what we're doing now, I mean, it was such a great experience. And with the Crew Up mentoring program, just for anybody who's not aware, that's a program through Indie Memphis. I think we're going into our sixth year of it. I think this is our fifth, but this program allows us to pair a local filmmaker with a team of 3 students. They get a budget, um, and that filmmaker is also given a guideline of things to cover with the young filmmakers, and they teach them how to make a short film, from concept to script to location scouting to casting. Like they literally break it down, camera equipment, all of it, to actually shooting the film and then making a final short film. That film is then shown at our youth film fest that we have each year. Because we have a festival that is completely dedicated to the youth. And it usually hits in August. And so what one thing that we've been doing a little differently this year, we've been doing a little bit more outreach. Our managing director, Joseph Carr, he's really the one who really helped build the youth program from the ground up, and he's from Memphis. And me and him have bonded over the fact that, we didn't have a lot of resources when it came to the entertainment industry in Memphis, even though West Tennessee has always had a connection to the film industry. Like always. Even in films as cringeworthy as some of the scenes might be, Gone with the Wind, right? That there are shots in there that were shot in West Tennessee. And so when you think about how many different films, what A Time to Kill. I mean, there have been like a lot of big blockbuster films in this area, but we still don't necessarily have the ecosystem, right, to benefit from that. And so um, Joseph and I have been having really great conversations. And this year we did a little bit more outreach, um, like 2 different schools, at different campuses. U of M, we just had a booth and we showed some short films at U of M's campus. We were just at a high school. I went to one elementary school a month ago. I'm going to another elementary school in another month. Even though our youth program right now is catered towards 7th through 12th grade, we even find that there's importance to even just at least to let the elementary kids know, hey, here's a field. Here's something that you can look forward to doing. This is what's going on, in Memphis right now. And if this is something you're interested in, maybe you can tell your own stories in your own way. Or maybe if you like lighting, you can figure out how to light things, right? If you like carpentry, if you like building things, you can figure out how to build a production set. there are so many different jobs in the entertainment industry. And so with our youth program, we take a lot of pride in being able to at least expose what's all out there so that the next generation can just be intrigued by it and let their imaginations go wild and actually come through it. We have the mentoring program. We also have workshops that we do with the youth. We've had 2 workshops this year, one focused on screenwriting, the other one focused on camera equipment. I think our next one is going to be focused on lighting. And our one after that, we're going to be focused on editing. And so we're just really excited to break down each of these different things for the kids. So whether they're in our mentoring program or not, they can go and might make their own stories and they can submit it to our youth film fest. They can submit it to somewhere else, but they're getting their stories out into the world. And that's what we really want to see more of.
Okay. What advice would you give somebody that is looking to transition into a creative career from a traditional background?
I would say lean into your strengths. Um, when I first started like going into the when I started going to the creative field, um, I felt like, oh, I'm not artsy, I'm not any of that. But then I came across a role where they needed a businesswoman who was stressed out.
Hey, shit, I got this.
You embodied that role, huh?
Look at God, right? Look at, I mean, just seriously. And so I stepped into it. And then I realized that during that process, I think we had like a casting situation. And so I helped out with casting. And through that, I realized, oh, I like this side of things. And by leaning into your strengths, you end up finding different ways to help other people. And then you end up finding, if you want to tell your own story, you end up finding what you're good at and what you're not necessarily good at. And it's very important that you know that, right? And I think that's important in just your job, period, whether it's creative, whether it's technical, business related. It's very important for you to know what your strengths are and for you to know what you're not so strong in. So you can make sure you have the best of the best in the places that you're not that strong in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my team, Indie Memphis, we are solid. And I ask them a million questions, and I'm sure I drive them crazy sometimes, but they live they patronize me anyway. But I also trust their judgment because they're the best at what they do, right? And you gotta know you have to be able to do that, right? Like not necessarily check out on it, but put someone in place who is really good at it so you can focus on what you need to focus on because you can't be everything to everybody. You just
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
you just can't. And so I think when you're talking about someone who's looking at transitioning, if you are not comfortable going straight into directing, that's totally okay. Look at what you are strong in. I had a finance background. That's one reason why being a producer was kind of like second nature to me. Watching
Mm-hmm.
numbers, making sure we don't spend too much, bossing people around. I love to do that. Like I'm not bossy, y'all. I'm just playing. I'm not.
Don't
But
worry, it's a Tennessee thing. I understand.
I
Don't do
just
Oh,
like taking
that.
don't
He's trying to
don't
be
give me
funny.
that Tennessee hate, Caliph.
Yeah,
Don't give
he's trying to be funny because Rhonda and I are both from Tennessee too.
Oh, what part?
So
See,
I'm from
I'm used to bossy women from Tennessee. Don't worry about it. It's good.
What part are you from, Lashika?
Nashville.
Okay. And Rhonda, are you
I'm
from
from
there?
Memphis.
Okay. Okay.
See how
Well,
fast she said that?
Yeah, because look,
I
you keep
mean,
trying to say I'm from Wisconsin, and that's not it.
so we got two Memphians, a Nashvilleian, and I just feel like, Khalif, maybe you like being bossed around.
Just a little bit.
oh,
Just
see,
a little bit.
see,
Just a little bit. Not even a
Just a
lot of
little
bit.
bit.
Just a little bit.
see.
But yeah, but no, it is definitely something that I think that when you are going into it, you got to just pay attention to what can you offer. And if you like it, great. If you don't like the project that you got in on, that's okay too. Figure out why you didn't. And if you still want to be in that creative space, look at something else. I know someone who started she's a musician, and somehow she got into art design on the Young Rock set, and
Mm-hmm.
now she loves it. Like, she still does her musician stuff on the side, but it's very different than her being a sales associate that she was also before. She's a sales associate and a musician, and she has a career in art design,
Mm.
in the entertainment field. So you just never know, but you got to put yourself out there to figure out
Yeah.
what it is you're going to be good at and what you're not.
It's
Okay.
so true. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Can you
Trash.
give us can you give us a sneak peek on your upcoming project, The Pack, and what drew you to this story?
The Pact is so this one is created by my friend Robert MP Butler. He's such a great visionary, he's such a great writer. And it's a rom-com about two best friends who make a pact to get married after 30, if they're both single, and then they drunkenly accidentally do so. And so while they're waiting on their divorce, they also decide to test the limits and see if they are actually meant to be, or if they're going to jeopardize their friendship, trying to see that. And so it's really cool, it's really funny, it's different. We don't have a whole lot of we don't have a whole lot of rom-coms, I feel like out and about, especially not black led ones. I
Mhm.
just watched a really good one, that's on Hulu now, called Rye Lane. It's based in the UK. You guys should check it out.
Okay.
But that was probably the best rom-com I've seen in years, especially with the black cast. And so when I read his script, I could just see the vision, and I really wanted to bring that. I think that we have so many action movies out. We've got so many heavy movies out. I think that we also forget that, there's different genres out there that we need to explore, different stories that we need to put out there. And I'd
Mm-hmm.
love to be a part of, even though horror is like my background, my baby, I also love comedy. So that's my second favorite genre. And I'd love to be a part of of a project that gets to do that. And we got some really cool people attached to it. So I'm really, really, really excited about it.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's good.
No, that's really exciting. And when you were talking about, I don't think you used the word verbatim when stepping out there, but it just made me think about your role. I mean, we talked about you as a creative, you as an executive producer, executive director, but then also, your role as nonprofit. Now you're a nonprofit leader,
Yeah.
right? Like, and so the four of us have started our own nonprofit. So it'd be great to hear from you of all the things that you've learned. Like, what is something that you wish you knew about nonprofits?
Ooh. Something I wish I knew. Mm, I would say, what's something I wish I knew? I would say, when it comes to nonprofits, I wish I knew earlier, because I know it now,
Mm-hmm.
but the focus on development
Mm-hmm.
and getting the funds necessary to continue your mission is like so key. And it's not to be one, and I hate to sound like, it's all about the money, but like, there's so much that we do for the community for free,
Mm-hmm.
right? There are screenings that we provide to the public for free. Rye Lane, which I actually just mentioned, we showed in Memphis, and we were one of three locations in the US that showed that film because it was not released theatrically in the US. And we showed it before it was released on Hulu, one of three, and we opened it to the public for free. Pay what you can, right? And so the development piece is like so key to being able to help so many people. And um and I think like as like with the nonprofit, being with the nonprofit, sometimes, especially when we're in certain rooms with people and like you're negotiating and like you feel like they're like, like when you're negotiating with people that want to help, but they also want to give you the smallest amount of help. And so you kind of got to like call them out a little bit,
Just
you
a
know,
little bit. Just a little
just a
bit.
little bit. I wish I would have known that I'd be in that situation a little bit more than what I am, because um the grants are a lot, right? Like grant writing is a lot. Um, Looking for sponsorships is a lot. Looking for different ways of revenue, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to nonprofits, it is very interesting because we are nonprofits. We don't generate really our own revenue based off of our services, but we're constantly looking for different ways of funding because if we don't, we're not able to serve the public. And so I think that is and it's definitely going to be my role because I'm the executive director, but I think the focus on that is a lot bigger than maybe what I anticipated when I first came into it. So paying attention to that, looking for new opportunities, making sure that we're reaching out and we are marketing what we're doing. I think that's really the biggest thing for Indie Memphis. We do so many great things, but we just kind of do it. Our staff just kind of does it because it's a great thing to do. We don't necessarily brag about it. We don't necessarily like tell other people about it. So getting us in the position to market what we're doing, let people know, hey, we offer screenings year round to great high quality films because everybody should be able to access high quality art regardless of their income, right? We're mentoring kids, we're getting kids into everything we offer for the youth is completely free to the public, everything, right? A lot of people don't know that. But we're trying to do a better job of that so that when it comes down to the funding, it's easier to do that because people know more of what we do. But that's kind of, I would say, a bit of a difficulty that I didn't realize so much would be my so much of my job would be surrounded by like, okay, let's look at funding, let's look at new funding opportunities. Are we really turning over as many rocks as we need to? And so I get to do those things and our programming team gets to have the fun part of watching the great movie. I joke with them about that because we went to Sundance this past year and it was amazing. But I only got to see one of the films in theaters. I only got to see All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt at
Wow.
the premiere. The rest of the time, I was meeting people. I was getting business cards. I was making connections that hopefully will manifest in different ways. And honestly, have already started to manifest in collaborations and stuff like that. So it wasn't wasted, but I was a little bit jealous because they were like, "Oh, this film is amazing." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Y'all saw it without me." Oh my
You was working though. So you was working.
the betrayal. Yeah, no, we were working. They were working. I was working. Just completely different jobs. So yeah.
Okay, with the work you do in the film industry, what impact do you hope to make both as a producer and as the executive director in Indie Memphis?
As as an executive director, I hope to really get us to a point to where we're just a lot more visible. I 100% believe in Indie Memphis. We do a lot of great work. We have helped so many different artists. We've helped them make their films. We stand by that. That's part of our thing is to support the development of filmmakers, whether it be by a grant or whether it be by with a workshop or just even connecting people together, right? I love being a part of an organization that stands by that. And so as an executive director, I want the word to get out more about what we do and where we're going. And I think that that will just be really great because we're starting to get the word out. I think that people are starting to pay attention to us, and I'm looking forward to more of the world focusing on us, because even though we are in Memphis, Memphis is seen as an underdog in a lot of different ways. Anything bad that happens in Memphis, it's on the national news within like 48 hours. But when we do good things, you don't necessarily hear about that. We're one of the good things. And so, you know, really being proud of that and knowing that more of what we're doing needs to get out into the world, that's kind of a driver for me. As a producer, I want to be able to tell more stories that you don't traditionally see. Um, the Pact is a story that you haven't seen before, but we're gonna make it.
Hey,
I'm working on a few horror films that you haven't seen before. There's nothing out there like it, but I'm looking forward to helping that come to life, because so many stories need to be told, and especially as somebody in an area that is not necessarily known for film, even though we've had a connection with film for a very long time. We're not known for it. Memphis is not known for their connection to the film industry. And so I look forward to being able to tell those stories. And also, you know, even as a producer, but also as a director, I'm finding my visual style, and looking forward to sharing that with the world as well. So.
all right, can you do me a favor and tell the people how they can find you, how they can find Indie Memphis, and how could they help or how could they donate? Whatever it is that you want to tell the people, go ahead and let them
Sure.
know.
Sure. So you can find us at indiememphis.org. That's INDIE Memphis.org. We are Indie Memphis on all social channels. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're on it. I even think we have TikTok. I'm old though, so I don't know. I think we do. I
We
don't
are.
mess with the TikTok account. Our director of marketing. I'm not old person. I'm not too old, but I'm too old for TikTok. I'm too old for it. You can find me at Fry Smalls on social media, FRYSMALLS. And you can also connect with us in our website. There's you can be a member. We accept memberships. We also, one thing I didn't mention, we're a hybrid festival. So we have screenings in person, but we also screen things virtually as well. And so even if you're not in Memphis, you can still benefit. You can still benefit from our festival. You can still watch films through our festival. And we're looking at, even opportunities of doing that throughout the year as well. So our Black Creators Forum also is a virtual event. Well, it's a hybrid event. We're going to have an in-person component. But if you're interested in making films, if you're just interested in film anyway, just come to www.indiememphis.org. Send us an email. You can send us our contact. We'll get it and we'll respond.
All right, Kimel, on behalf of the crew, we'd like to thank you for coming on. We appreciate you. And we would also say to the people, you guys go reach out to Indie Memphis, and you guys know that we have problems, but we also have solutions, and we out.
Peace.
From the team at CRC Empire, we want to thank you for listening. To stay connected with us, like, share, and subscribe to the We Got Problems podcast. You can find us on social media platforms at Curtis Martin 247, at Rhonda Wrights Official, and at the_trash_vegan_. We got problems and we got solutions.